Hello and a very warm welcome to the Crone Zone. I'm Lynn and welcome to this video, which is going to be a little bit of a combination. Is it going to cover both the new moon we have coming up in Capricorn on the 30th of December and also the 6th Venus moon gate meeting of the moon and Venus, which will be happening in the UK on the 3rd of January. So welcome to this video. It's very much looking forward to the new year, and I'm actually recording it on the solstice morn. So again, a time of renewal, and indeed, I find many seeds of optimism in this upcoming window. Because this is a combined video, I won't be going into every aspect of the new moon. What I do want to do is pick out threads that present themselves strongly to me, and from those weave their story as it's speaking to me. Because I think astrology is, like everything, is fractal, and all threads or strands that we take will uncover for us a window through to a much bigger picture. So let's run with that. Now, the new moon in Capricorn happens on the 30th of December. So we know that new moons are not visible, and so the energy of the new moon and the visibility of the new moon will be running right in to the start of 2025. So this is very much a moon setting the tone for 2025 for us, and if you like, giving us a little bit of a lesson plan in one or two specifics we can be looking at personally. So this new moon will occur precisely at in the early hours of the morning. I think it's 4:37 a.m. in the UK. I'm just looking at my notes here. And it is at 9 degrees 43 minutes of Capricorn. And of course, the sun and moon are together because this is a new moon, and that is always the case. And as I've said many times, the new moon is a wonderful time for seed planting. It's a time for setting intentions, for thinking about those things that we want to bring into being. So timing of this couldn't be more propitious. It couldn't be a better time to have a new moon. And I'm also excited that it's in the sign of Capricorn, because this is a fantastic sign for manifesting in a practical, into the world, bringing things into being in a practical, measured way. And I think that's going to be very important to help us here. And so the ruler of this new moon is Saturn. And I would like mainly in this video to explore a pattern that Saturn is making with Mercury and Jupiter, because that seems to me the key thing here to focus on. In my recent video on the full moon in Gemini, I spoke about the opposition between Jupiter and Mercury and went into that at some length. So do have a look at that video if you haven't seen it, because I think it feeds information into this video too. So let's talk just a little bit briefly about that. So we have Mercury, the everyday mind here, and being in many ways expanded, excited by Jupiter. And there was mutual reception here going on, because Jupiter is in Gemini and Mercury is, just a moment, yes, in Sagittarius, of course. So there's mutual reception there. They're in each other's signs. And Jupiter is concerned with the big picture. It's concerned with the philosophical, bigger view of things, the more encompassing view, the big picture. And Mercury is concerned with the detail. But of course, it's very good not to obscure either. So, we don't want so much of the big picture that we lack the detail that helps us take action, nor do we want so much detail that we miss the point. So this is the message here. Now, they're in opposition, but squaring them is Saturn. Saturn is the ruler of this new moon chart. And Saturn is still currently in the sign of Pisces. Saturn, the Lord of Time, but Saturn brings a capacity to deal with time. Call it an illusion, but whilst we're here, we're dealing with it. And Saturn enables us to use our time meaningfully, with structure, to prioritize, to focus, to take measured steps. It's looking at what's possible, what's completable, measurable, and that which we can manifest. But because it's in the sign of Pisces, it isn't merely concerned with worldly affairs. It's also bringing in here this more encompassing spirit, so that what we're building and what we're doing has those elements too of that more all embracing, the all that is consciousness that we get with Pisces Neptune. And so it's a spiritualized Saturn coming in here. And this is going to help us really think about, what are my priorities? It's going to ask us to have integrity. It's going to ask us to have self-authority and ownership of what we do and responsibility for what we do, to be authentic and to lay our plans, our thinking, Mercury, and then Jupiter giving us this big optimistic new picture. Jupiter can overextend itself. It can think too big. It can blow things up a little too much. Jupiter's the accelerator and Saturn's the brake. Between the two, we have a very good opportunity to get it right, consolidate our plans, our dreams. These plans may well be dreams, because Saturn is in Pisces, and so these may well be our dreams, and they can be big ones, and they can be for a long-term future. Saturn loves to work for the long haul, for long periods of time. So what we're laying now at this new moon could be seeding into the future quite some way. So we shall certainly be in that sort of propelling energy of the new moon, not just on the 30th, but 31st, on New Year's Day, the 1st, the 2nd. And it's at the 2nd that I want to pick up my story and continue, because I want to talk about something that happens on January the 2nd, 2025. And this concerns Venus. And as you know, we've been tracking Venus and her moon gates. So on the 2nd, Venus moves into the sign of Pisces, and she is exalted there. This is, the highest place for Venus to be in. So it potentially can bring huge pleasures, perhaps even indulgences, lots of dreams, of creativity, and also of spirituality, of higher love, of connecting with a much bigger cosmos. So it's a wonderful, wonderful, heartfelt place for Venus to be, and she goes there on the 2nd, and then on the 3rd, Venus makes her meeting with her sister goddess, the moon, at the moon gate. And this moon gate is the 6th of these meetings since Venus began her rise as the evening star. And the chakra that it's concerned with is the third eye, Shidakash, inner space, the brow chakra. So on the 3rd, at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, Venus and the moon will be conjunct each other, they will be meeting, they will be in the same degree, not even at 1 degree of Pisces, but just at some odd minutes of Pisces, just inching their way towards that 1st degree of Pisces. Excitingly, the ruler of this new moon chart, Neptune, is right sitting on the north node, and we know that's our direction of travel. So we know that's the way we've got to go, and it's with those Neptunian values that we will find our way forward. So Neptune, the ruler of this chart, right on the north node, and I always think of Neptune as a she, sorry, but she is receiving very helpful energies, aspects from some pretty heavy hitting planets. So Mars, Uranus, and also Pluto. So she is very supported by the other planets, which is wonderful. This is quite a bit of harmonious push in the same direction there, support, which is really good. Now, just a little bit about the third eye. So this chakra, this energy center, I think is key to the raising of consciousness, which I was talking about in my Gemini full moon video just back a whiles. It is resonates with the note of A, and traditionally is associated with the color indigo. Now, that's not my experience of the third eye. For me, it's purple, and that may be the case for you. I think these things vary. So, for instance, some people would attribute Pluto to the third eye, others, Saturn. I think here today it's useful to think of that Saturn connection because of what I was saying in the new moon little section that I've just done. So that's interesting. So it is the third eye, I believe, that is going to be expanding massively in people. I think people's intuitions will develop. I think their insights into things, the visions that they see into other realities will increase as this opens. It's inner space. So when we look into it, well, we see all sorts of things. I mean, for instance, colour is key, but also, it entire visions will play there. Scenes from a film almost will run there. Encounters will happen there with other beings. Geometry may float there. Vortexes may spin there. We see into other things through the third eye. Sometimes as well, we can be invaded there a little, especially if we have psychic abilities, but we've not yet learned how to set up our own boundaries, to protect ourselves, which is important. And it's possible sometimes that we will see things there that are disturbing to us and which don't seem altogether to have our best interests at heart. And I was taught by a very wise person many, many years ago when I was talking about this exact thing that I was experiencing. And she told me these words, and I give them to you because I think they're incredibly wise, and they've certainly helped me at that point when I was developing my own spiritual boundaries, and perhaps limiting some of the traffic that I was getting psychically. She said to me, if you see something there that you don't like or that seems unfriendly to you or disturbing to you, you simply say these words: go with love. But it must be with love, never with fear and never with animosity. So that's just a little tip that I'm prompted to tell you about here as we're discussing the third eye. I think this meeting of Venus and the moon in Pisces is so exciting, and it holds so much potential for creativity, all of the arts. This is a wonderful opportunity here. All sorts of inspirations may be coming in. I suppose we do have to also be a little wary of delusion also, and enchant, maybe being glamoured or enchanted into things a little bit with that strong Piscean energy going on, and the moon, which can sometimes cause a little illusion that we see things that aren't really there. But for that, we must tune in, mustn't we, to our heart space and to ourselves, and tune and assess how real things are for us and their truth for us. We do have that inner barometer. It's always available if we seek it. But I think it's a magnificent time for spiritual development, for opening to whole other aspects of ourselves, whole other potentials that we have that we may be not using, and to our dreams, to our visions, to those things that can feed in here and enhance and change the world. So this is really such a glorious meeting, I feel. I see such a clear thread running from the Gemini full moon through solstice to the Capricorn new moon and to the Venus moon gate. It is as if everything is leading us to this eye opening. So that is exciting. Now, Venus should certainly be visible now with the moon. I said this exact moment is shortly after 4 p.m. in the afternoon here in the UK. So it's dark not long after that. Even though we're passing solstice, it still gets dark pretty soon. So you certainly should be able to see Venus. She will be getting higher. She will be getting brighter. She won't be remaining all night. So you need to get out there after sunset in those early hours of the evening when it's good and dark. And I think you will see Venus and the moon and how magical that will be. If at this point, we can do all sorts of things. We can do chakra tuning. We can use singing bowls. We can look at the moon and Venus. That's pretty amazing thing to do. Be aware, meditate, just internally hold this space for this happening. But of course, it's going to resonate with us for the entire month until the final chakra, our 7th Venus moon gate, which will be in February. So we can be working with this amazing energy, of course, consciously all month. is going to be, working on those early weeks of 2025. But of course, it's much bigger than that. It's gifts coming in that we can take forward and use well into the future. So if insights or exciting breakthroughs, visions, psychic experiences happen for you, please let us know in the comments, and we can share them, because I think that's a great thing to do. It gives this, well, wonderful sense of us, as I've said before, all journeying together. So, a wonderful new moon to you, a wonderful Venus moon gate, and a happy 2025. We certainly have things to help us on our way here. So I'll leave you with those positive thoughts. Bye-bye.